We're womening.
Are we womening?
We are super winning. We're winning really good.
Winneming?
We're winning.
We're winneming?
We are winning very good. And friend, I did a boo boo. I don't think I properly checked your captions. Did I?
Oh, no.
I don't have captions for
Oh,
you, friend.
hello, friends in chat. Do you have captions for me? No? You are captionless?
I will be fixing the captions as we're going live. But you know what? We're going
Yeah.
to edit all this part out. Hi, friends. Welcome to Euphoria.
Hi.
My name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I am a Latin woman of color. I have tan skin, dark eyes, dark, wavy, curly hair. I'm wearing a knit white turtleneck sweater because it's still a bit chilly here. And friend, who are you?
Hello. I am Michelle. My pronouns are she, her. Soon I will have captions. And I am a brown skinned woman with long, sort of wavy black hair. And I'm wearing a sort of light purple t shirt and some colorful dungarees. And I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to
Yay!
TTRP girlsing.
What is all that about?
I mean, what is it not about? It's about women. It's about girls. It's about femmes. It's about people of marginalized genders, but especially women within the TTRPG scene being uplifted and celebrated and recognized because we've been here the whole time.
One a million thousand percent. We are there. And we are here to discuss actual plays because that is the big chunk of what we do here at Euphoria.
It is.
Uh, for me, that is my niche into APs, into TTRPGs, so to say. I really like an AP. I personally have the fortune of having to understand a little bit the difference between how AP games run at the table, at least.
Mhm.
And for me, that difference was something I really enjoyed, even just in as a play as playing. Like the beat felt different, and I'm like, I actually prefer this beat, this level, to sometimes a home game. And then I decided if I'm going to do all these APs, actual plays, I'm gonna like go all in on it.
Mhm.
And that's how sort of I got to enjoy APs. What was your AP origin story, or why APs, Michelle Kelly?
Well, I mean, the reason I even realized I was into TTRPGs is from watching and listening to, especially listening to AP podcasts. Like, I'm a big podcast fan. I like to always have something on when I'm like about the house. And I started listening to actual plays. And I was like, man, this seems so fun playing games, playing imagination with people. I should try that. So the APs led me to playing TTRPGs, like home games, as we refer to them, and then playing lots of home games led me back into APs, but this time it was me doing it. And I love it. I love actual play because of many reasons. It's fun, it's entertaining, it showcases amazing games. But also, when we're talking about women and femmes and girls in the scene, actual plays are literally lending visibility
Mhm,
to those
mhm.
people and showing that this hobby is diverse because you can see us and hear us saying, "Hey, I love these games," and it's just like a very concrete evidence of the fact that this hobby is for everybody.
Absolutely. My first APs was watching Critical Role. When I was a TTRPG baby, I was like, "Oh, D&D, that's the only game that exists, right, of this kind." And I really wanted to learn how the game was run because I had self-confidence issues, still do. So I watched, I bought the player's handbook, and I sat there and I opened it. And I'm like, "Oh, they did this and that. Wait, they're doing it wrong. Wait, they're doing it wrong. Wait, they're doing it wrong." But seeing how much fun they had, seeing the kind of spontaneity in the story that they were weaving was like, that's the kind of experience I want. Whether what at the table it had to be an AP, but I was like, that was sort of the first step. And then I was like, oh, let's go further. And you and I with RC and some people who um, have a lot of faith in us, I've also gone further.
Yes, so true. We've hey, it's us, you and I and Darcy run this here channel, and we got a lot of people in our community who come and watch. Hello, friends in chat. Um, and we're gonna talk a little bit about what we've learned from being in APs and loving APs and making APs, and hopefully some of it might be useful to any of you who want to, like us, get into being in them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to talk about for about an hour our perspective, our Euphoria, Ida, Michelle, some of Darcy as well, about being at the actual play table as a performer, as a player, as a cast member, mostly as a player. Some of this stuff can, of course, apply to DMs, but if you're behind the camera and you're role playing, we're mostly talking to you.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think we'll be using the terms player and performer interchangeably because when you're making AP, you are both at the same time. You are both playing the game, but also performing yourself playing it for an audience. And that presence of the audience, whether or not you're thinking about it at the time, is the thing that for me really changes something into an AP and changes my mindset when I'm playing. Is
Mhm.
oh, this isn't just for my own amusement. I am doing stuff for my own amusement, but hopefully in a way which also other people can be along for the ride.
Mhm. And because we are making content that is for public consumption,
Mhm.
we, Euphoria, think that there has to be a bit more intentionality and care about doing that. Because at the end of the day, um, if you put your phone on a tripod while you're playing at home and you press stream, congratulations, you're an actual player.
Yeah.
If you screen share your Roll20 and your Discord while you're actively playing, there's an audience, you're an actual play performer. That that's the bar. You have to live stream you actually playing a game. Ideally, no, cognizant that there is an audience. I think
Mhm.
you need to be cognizant that there is an audience. If your content you're playing and you don't know it's being recorded, that's an intrusion of privacy. That's not actual play.
You should know. Everybody should know they're being recorded. Let's write that down as our first top tip.
So
Consent is key in
so
actual players and all things.
that is our definition thus of an actual play.
Mhm.
The consented broadcasting of the playing of a TTRPG for public consumption.
That sounds like a really good definition to me.
Yeah.
And hey, we make a lot of them here. We
We do.
have such a big program this year of exciting APs, and we are going to try and do as much open casting as possible, putting out casting applications for as many of the games as we can, because we want to meet lots of new people as well as welcome back lots of lovely returning friends who we've had on the channel in the past. We always want to meet new, amazing people because we know there's so many more exciting players and performers in Europe that we haven't met yet. So if you're watching this and thinking, I want to do some APs, yes, yes, come
Come.
into our web. It's a very friendly web. I don't know why I said that so sinister. It's a friendly web.
It's a friend. This is our friendly face. This is our friendly space. Um, Sam asks, "Welcome to the chat. Would you
Sam.
include live non-stream events in your AP definitions?"
Oh, as in like live in person in front of a physical audience, Sam? 100%.
There
I
is an audience. You
yeah,
are so I think that would be an actual play too. If you're at a
definitely.
theater, for example, if you're in a public space, you're at a convention, and people are playing for the intent of an external audience, that is an actual play. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that, and as Michelle mentioned, come join us. But this is also for everyone else. You're welcome. That is not exclusively at Euphoria because we we have standards. And we're
Heard of them?
exhausted seeing everyone break them. We're exhausted.
So true. So true. There are when you're cognizant that you have an audience, you also have to be cognizant of looking after yourself within that framework and your audience and respecting your own time and their time and the time of your producers and the time of your castmates. It's a bit different. I mean, respect people all the time, but there are different things to consider. Um let's like should we get into it, Ada? Shall we get into some of the things we think you should consider if you
I
want to be an actual player?
I think we should. Okay. I have jury rigged this OBS thing to the inch. Let's see if what I intend to work is going to work.
She is a professional.
Ha! All right. That's not working as much as well as I wanted to. We're doing this live.
We're doing it live, and that's part of actual play, right? We've got a
Okay.
box.
Okay, we have a box
We got it.
and we're going to talk about before you apply to an actual play. And I think, let's see if we can just do it like that a bit neater. Yes, Ida talks to Ida a lot as Ida
Ida does talk to
produces.
Ida a lot, and I love that about her. So we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to start before the beginning, before you actually even think about applying for an actual play. First question, Ida. First question you must ask yourself. Ida, speak to Ida. What will you ask yourself before you apply to an actual play?
Why do I want to be on an actual play?
Do I want to be in an actual play? Is that what I really want?
Hmm.
Because I think we've kind of touched on this already, but performing is not the same as playing in a non-content home game. Like it's still really fun. Like we want all of our performers to be having loads of fun. And I think everybody on who's ever been on a Euphoria also enjoys playing games not on stream and not for actual play, enjoys playing home games for fun. But there are other responsibilities and maybe more responsibility
Mm.
when you are performing in an actual play versus playing at home with your buddies. You need to have certain dates in your calendar that you've blocked out, and you need to show up on time for those sessions that are in your calendar. You need to be responsive to messages from your cast and your producer so that everything can be ready on time. Any forms, safety checklists, anything your producers need from you have to be filled out promptly and on time. You need to be alert and awake and aware that you're in front of an audience, looking at your audience and not kind of like slumped over here like off camera. You need to be you need to be switched on for the whole duration of the game in a way which when you're just playing with your friends you can kind of just check out for a bit if you're feeling sleepy and you're not having a day, your friends get it. You might have to play with people who you don't know. You almost
Mm.
certainly will have to play with
Mhm.
people who you don't know. And you might meet them at session 0 and then chat a bit in Discord, and then boom, you're in front of an audience and you're playing, and you have to be able to find that chemistry that in a home game you might have much longer to find. And you need to be ready to be off the cuff and be confident and be confident enough to speak up and get involved while also making sure you're not hogging the spotlight and making sure you're not steamrolling over all the other players and that everybody gets a chance to shine. That is quite a lot to keep in your head and to be doing when
I
you're just
mean,
looking to play a game.
you're kind of describing a emotionally balanced, mature adult person, Michelle.
We're all trying our best to get to reach that standard, Ada. So I don't know if I'd call myself that, but we try.
We try. All those things, of course, are pertinent. Even if it's not a AP, a game for an audience for audience consumption. I also want to point out that there are people who say, "Well, I'm really shy. Well, I don't want to be on camera. Well, I don't want to be recorded. I don't like hearing myself." I also need to sort of push back a bit. Why do you want to be an AP? What makes you want an AP knowing that the focus of the AP is having the audience being on video or being your recorded. When we say APs, I'm not talking about just video APs. That also counts for podcasts as well.
Absolutely.
Um, some people think, like I mentioned earlier, my own like that APs are a quote unquote higher, thus better plane than home games. That's not the case.
So
One
not
is
the case.
necessarily better than the other. Being an AP or actual play performer doesn't make you a better home gamer or vice versa. Also, depending on who you are or what your needs and comforts are, no one is owed space in front of the camera unless you have your own camera and you turn it on and you do that for yourself. Um, we have
That's
had people that, for example, Michelle, we can all relate that we're saying, oh, this is going to be Black History Month. This is going to be this month, and person who does not read the room, cis het white man is like, what about me? I should go on this page too, and we're like, no. So understand why it is you want to be on that AP in the first place. What do you hope to get out of it? What do you bring to the table and to that potential audience? Are you doing it because it's fun? Are you doing it because you're trying to go for a profession? Separate stream, but you're not going to make enough to pay your bills. It's fun, but you're not going to pay your bills unless, wow. unless wow, all your bills. Um,
Unless your bills are extremely low.
so why do you want to be on that AP? Yes, there are means for people who have those discomforts or preferences to make adjustments. Some people have a VTuber, PNG tuber. Some people go exclusively podcast or with voice changes, etc. But if you're going to do that and you have a space that supports all of that, perfect, great. But understand all that before you just say, I want to be that.
Yeah.
Why?
You're not trying to be critical role, or you shouldn't be trying to be critical role. You should be trying to be you. And if you would enjoy all of the things that we've talked about and are excited by all of that, then actual play sounds like it might be a good fit for you. If you think, "Oh, that's a lot, and I actually don't really wanna do that. I just wanna play games with people." That's fine. I agree with what you said, Aida, like, treating AP as, like, somehow better gaming is ridiculous. Like, the best game is the game that you're enjoying. It doesn't have to be for content if that's not who you are. And little shameless plug, if what you really want is just to meet more people and play games online, hi, especially if you're in Europe, hey, come join the Euphoria Discord. We have a whole forum in there called Looking for Group where people organize off stream, non recorded games just for fun, European friendly time zones, new people, all sorts of different systems. We basically, I mean, I think we don't do D&D in Euphoria. Basically,
Yep.
it's every other system.
Thank
So
God.
if you want to explore a new world of indie systems and play with lots of new people and do all of that fun stuff, you can do that without doing actual play. We have a space for you to do that, and we want you to come and do that. But if the stuff about the performing and getting involved in that more kind of narrative way of playing games that is very much for an audience and cognizant of an audience, then great. We also want to see you. We want you to apply to our castings. Come on in. We love having new people who are new to APs and kind of guiding them through learning about that process. Um,
Yes.
we there are no foolish questions in Euphoria except for maybe why can I not apply to this closed casting that has specific
Why
demographics? That's a foolish question. That's the only one I can think of.
why wasn't I cast? Maybe not
Mm,
like that. Don't ask it like that.
maybe don't ask it like
Don't
that.
ask it like that.
We'll talk a bit about casting in a bit. We can talk about
Yes.
that for sure.
The last point we have is learn about the community and the channel that you are joining. So I alluded to
Mm,
this a little bit before, where you should take a temperature check. You should read the room. Michelle just mentioned that, hey, particularly if you're in Europe, the word Europe was mentioned a few times. Um, Euphoria was born because, at the very least, when Darcy and I started it, we thought there are very few spaces that directly, unabashedly, chest out say, we're based in Europe. And we have all the things of diverse representation, POC representation, queer neurodivergent representation, marginalized gender representation. But it has to be Europe focused because we don't like being up at 2 in the morning. I don't like being assumed that everything just because English speaking is US based. Um, so read the room. If we're casting for people for International Women's Month, read the room, cis men. If we're casting for Pride Month, read the room, pet people, etc., etc., etc. Furthermore, if you're the kind of person that's like, I don't do identity politics, um, and you apply to someone like Euphoria, why the hell did you do that? Then they're trolling us because if they had read 3 words off any social media post we do, they would have known this space is absolutely not for them.
yeah, it's a really good point. Like, do a bit of research. Figure out if the channel that you're looking at is a good fit for you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about like how do you find APs to apply to? Obviously, you all are here. You found a Euphoria. We have them, but other studios are available who do open casting. So how do we find actual play channels that we can apply to try and get involved in APs once we've decided yes, I want to do it, and I'm not going to be a weirdo about pronouns? What's the next step?
Oh my God. There's so many people that's like, ew, I saw pronouns. I checked. Shut up.
You don't. This isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. Just go.
And the second they say, I don't care about pronouns, you use the first person personal pronoun.
Gotcha. um, okay, so how are you gonna find these AP channels? Step one, do you watch actual play?
Watch
Slash
actual
listen.
plays.
Do you listen to actual plays? Do you engage with actual play as a medium? Because you're going to learn the most from looking at channels and shows and noticing what they're doing and the different styles. Every different podcast or a studio, Twitch channel, YouTube channel, they're going to have their own styles, their own types of games, their own types of stories, their own ways of producing things. And you're going to have to look at different people and see what they're doing and find something that you think, oh, this seems like I would fit with this style. I feel like my way of playing, the kind of games I like, would fit well and mesh well with this channel.
Mhm.
It's exactly what you were saying, Ida, about doing your homework. I recommend the thing that seems pretty easy, which is if you're watching an AP or listening and you see a performer you really like, and you're like, oh, I love the way that she does that. That's so similar to how I play games. Then maybe go into those show notes, find the links, because God, any good AP producer will have put links to the cast members in their show notes.
Please put links
Please
to your AP
put links.
performers.
Go find the links or scroll to the end of the video when they do the little plug and listen to where you can find them. And then go and see what else they've done. What other channels have they been on? What other places are they making actual play? Because if their style suits yours and these are the places that work for them, maybe there'll be places that work for you. That's a really good way to find new channels. And then you can follow those channels and support those channels. And before you know it, you'll have a Rolodex in your head of all these different amazing people making APs. And you'll be able to think through which ones might be a good fit for you.
Mhm.
And then you can start looking into it. I mean, Ida, I feel like you can confirm this. Like when we have an open casting and we get an application from somebody and they follow us, they interact with us on socials, or we've seen them in chat before, we notice.
We do.
We
We
go,
absolutely do.
hey, so and so, they've like been on Blue Sky. I've seen them around.
Yeah.
Um, and
They
that's always
reposted, they did the like, they did the comment.
yeah, like they're always in chat. They always wave in chat. Like we do notice these things. I'm not saying that like you're guaranteed to get a place just because we recognize you off Blue Sky, but we do notice. We do remember people, and like TTRP girls, we've got quite a lot of new people coming on the channel for the first time this month for TTRP girls, and many of them we hadn't met, so to speak, before, but on socials and in chat we'd seen them around. So we were just so happy to see them applying for something, and that means a lot because it means you're engaging with actual play as a medium, as a form of art already before getting involved in it. That does mean something.
Yeah. And also, I want to specify that not every AP space channel platform does open casting. A
Mm,
lot of games are just that cast, just that group of friends. So just because you like what they're doing, you like what the individuals are doing, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get on that space. They might not ever do this kind of open casting. And that is okay, that is valid. It is not necessarily okay for you to barge in and say, hey. However, when you watch their content, when you engage with their content, when you support their content, you might be in the in when they do have open casting. Or when you're a part of those respective communities, they will also have friends with similar values, right? Friends are friends of friends, and they're friends because they share these um, values, they share these ideals, they share the same pool of talent often. And then from those little branches off, you might see casting opportunities for APs. So I can name a lot of channels that do not do any open casting. Just it's not going to happen. They're close friends, they have the dynamic, and they're wonderful to watch. But if you're in those spaces, eventually in the periphery, there will be opportunities. I am very, very confident of that.
that's really true. And you talked earlier about, hey, if you switch on your camera and start streaming, you're making AP. So it might be that through being involved in these communities, you meet people who you can say together, hey, maybe we should make something. You
Mhm.
know, it might not be that you end up casting to an established channel. It might be that through engaging with actual play and meeting other people, you make your own thing. And wouldn't that be wonderful? Like there can never be too much art in the world. So absolutely, it's not just about watching things and passively consuming. It's about getting involved and meeting other people. And I don't like to say networking because it sounds mercenary and it sounds corporate and cold. But literally, when you make friends in a genuine, organic way, eventually you will have a network of people with shared interests.
Yeah. And from there, I'm not saying that that's the goal. It's not transactional, but nonetheless, that path often leads to, hey, you're a person that's been engaging with us. We've gotten to know you. We've seen sort of who you are based on your own content, whatever that may be. We'll go over it in a second. And we think you'd be a good fit for Project ABC.
Maybe. And I mean, I think sometimes when you are a fan of somebody's work, and I'm a fan of many of the people who I've got a chance to play with, but when you see somebody who seems to have done so much, you think, oh my god, they've been on every channel, they've done so much actual play, they just came out of nowhere. They didn't. They didn't come out of nowhere. They gradually built friends and made connections and built their skills over time, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how they've ended up being everywhere. It's it,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to take your time and to just enjoy actual play, because if you want to be in actual play, hopefully you enjoy it and
Yes.
build those connections over time.
Please be in it because you enjoy it, because, like I said earlier, it's very unlikely to pay your mortgage.
It's really so unlikely. Sam is in chat. Sam runs Who Hurt You Actual Plays.
Mhm.
He does not do open casting very often, almost never, but he's saying in chat right here, yeah, I'm being clocked harvesting all the Euphoria performers for my own APs. So there you go. When you start to put yourself out there, people will take notice. And
Mhm.
Sam, I know for a fact you have definitely watched people over on Euphoria, and then I've seen them pop into the Who Hurt You Discord like a week after their show came on. So it's true. It will come. The more you engage, the more people will notice and remember you.
So, you found that open casting, and now you think, "Yeah, that place, that community, that channel, that platform, I looks like I fit in there. Oh, but they're casting. How do I make sure I get in? What should I do? How do I ensure that I get in?" Well,
Well,
alrighty. So, how to improve your application? The first tip I want to share is, don't be mysterious. I don't. We don't like that. We Euphoria. Uh, we sort of need to know who you are. Um, That unfortunately or fortunately means you need to have a little bit of a social media presence, or you need to have a place aggregated where I can kind of know who you are. That can even be when you enter the Euphoria Discord. You typed in your little bio saying, I am this person from this country. These are my likes. Nice to meet you. Heart emoji. That's something, but it would be ideal if I know what your presence sort of is on social medias, even if you're just a reposter, retweeter, etc. Because someone that is reposting the anti-vaccine memes are not going to get cast in the Euphoria. Someone that is reposting the TTRPG HIO bundle against ICE has a higher chance of getting casted on a Euphoria. Um, Also, we tend to cast at Euphoria. Uh, I'm going to say it, we do cast along demographic lines. We're often looking specifically for marginalized genders. We're specifically looking for queer people, specifically looking for X, Y, Z. And it's going to be harder to know if you fit within that criteria if you don't tell us within your application or within your social medias. So put in your pronouns. If you're comfortable enough, put the country. I don't need to know your postcode. I don't need to the village or the province. Can you give me a country? Pardon. That would be really helpful. Um, Let me know if if you identify as queer. If that is particularly a safe thing for you to do, you're comfortable. Let me know if you identify as neurodivergent or disabled. Again, comfort does take precedence here, but these things are not. They're never impediments or counts against you. Good places like Euphoria, but not exclusively, we want to celebrate those differences and we want to ensure that they are represented. But it's going to be hard to represent if we don't know you're that person to help us make that representation. So don't be
exactly.
mysterious. Don't
Yeah.
be cute and get me like, ooh, don't you? Wouldn't you like to know? Tell us.
Clip that. But Liu is making a really good point in chat or a website. If you're not a big social media person, if you don't, you don't want to fuck with Meta, you don't want to be on Instagram. I see you, I respect you, I understand
Mhm,
you.
mhm, mhm.
You don't want to get stuck in a doom scroll. That's fine. Maybe make a little website, maybe like even a free thing like Linktree that
Yes.
just has some links to like here's a YouTube playlist of like the other APs I've done. Or if you haven't yet, here's just like a little hi, I'm so and so, here's my interests. I like TTRPGs. Like my favorite games are this. That can be a little landing page that you can make for free. And if you don't have to really engage with social media, but again, as Aida says, it just gives us something to look at. As
Mhm.
people who cast a lot of APs and actively court new people who we do not know to come and apply for things, when we get someone we've never heard of before, you bet we're being little creeps and we're clicking on those links and we're like, who is this person? Okay, they've dropped a blue sky and they're retweeting things that seem really cool. That's great. Oh, they've dropped a link to just a YouTube playlist. Oh, I can see that they've played with some people we know. That looks fun. Look at this AP they've done. That's really cool. We like to have something to look at, just to know who you are, even if it is like, here's my Instagram where I just post poetry. And I don't really post my face and pictures of myself. But here's the poems I write. I'm like, oh, lovely. Hey, they're an artist. They write poetry. Let's look at it. It gives us something to go off of. So we're not saying you have to be a big social media person. You don't have to be a TikTok superstar. I frankly don't know how to use TikTok and I refuse to learn. But you can find some way of telling us a little bit about you and that you have some kind of presence on the internet and are comfortable being on the internet because
Important.
we're gonna I don't know if you know this, but when we make APs we do put them online. So if you're comfortable applying to us for an actual play which is going to be cameras on or PNG tuber VTuber and microphones on, then you should hopefully be comfortable making some kind of social media or landing page so we can see who you are. It helps a lot. And as I just said, if you've been listening so far, you've done your homework. You've found studios or casting people who are like minded, and they're going to know you're like minded when they're able to see your online presence. Um, you've mentioned geographical location. Oh
Yes,
my God, I feel like we bang this drum every time we're on stream.
please.
Please tell us where you live.
Where are
I
you?
don't need your address. I don't need to send you post, but are you in the US? Are you in India? Are you in Australia? Are you in France? Are you in Germany?
Please?
Time zones are a thing. We remember how we talked about how there's a lot of admin behind the scenes of making actual play? We need to know where you are. We need to know your time zones because if for us to plan a game, a recording session that works, we need to know time zones involved. Hi, I'm Michelle. I live in the UK. There you go. I haven't doxed myself. You know what
Cool.
country I'm in. You know what time zone I'm in. That's all it has to be. That's
We
all it has to be.
we
Please,
can do a Google.
we can Google it. We can find out
Yes.
the time zone.
And again, you can be posting if you're posting in English and people assume you're based in the US, correct them. If you have the means and you're comfortable doing so, please just like, no, actually, I'm in Switzerland. No, actually, I'm in Finland. That's cool. Especially if you're POC, especially if you're marginalized
Yes.
gender. That'd be extra cool because then we're also a Euphoria mission statement trying to like change the face of the TTRPG community that is European based. So it looks like that. Am I pointing the right way? Yeah, I am.
It looks like this. That? I don't know. I'm going to point both ways. Hedge my bets. I'm actually pointing at chat. It looks like all of you in chat as well. That's what it
Yeah.
looks like. A wonderful thing to look at.
Okay.
Um, okay. Here's my
Next.
next thing. Here's my next thing. Are you ready? Are you listening to me, people?
Oh my God. Oh my
Read
God.
read the application form. And read it. Read it. Read the form. Read the read the form. I I cannot tell you how hard we work on our application forms to try and give as much information as we can in as succinct a way as we can. And it is
It's hard.
wordy. There's a lot of information. We try to make it as brief and clear as we can. We do try. And every question that we ask, we try to give context. So we'll say, give us your email address so we can contact you about this casting. Give us your social media handles so that if you're cast, we can promote things and tag you in the posts. Tell us why you're interested in this game. And then we'll usually put a little bit in italics underneath that says, here's some things you could tell us about. You could tell us if you played the game before, if you have an idea for a cool character, if you like the premise. we try really, really hard to make it as easy as possible to answer the questions on the form. And when I tell you, every single time we get applications from people who just clearly did not read it, they didn't read it. And how can we trust you to listen to your fellow players and be engaged in the show if we can't trust you to even engage with the application process?
I mean, a lot of it I'm talking about the worst case scenario. I'm talking about assuming this is assuming the worst, and we don't typically do this. But it also reeks of entitlement and carelessness because our application will Euphoria applications will say things like session zeros are mandatory and it will be at this time. And to potentially get a follow-up email or message saying, actually, I can't make those times. I knew that when I was applying. Could we like change it? No.
No.
Or acting surprised, c- c- doing all the steps. And then, oh, actually, no, I can't make it. Can I still play? At Euphoria, the answer is going to be no.
No. If you don't make session 0, you're not in the stream. You're not in the game at Euphoria because session 0 is part of safety.
Mhm.
So when we put in our form, usually multiple times, session 0 is mandatory. And somebody is like, I'm actually not available for session 0, but I still wanted to apply. Then we're obviously going to delete your application. Sorry, pal.
Just stop.
And I want to make it very clear here that some people are dyslexic, some people are not speaking their first or even second or even third language. When I say fill in the form properly, I am not talking about grammatical or spelling errors. I'm not
Mhm.
talking about you writing beautiful, life changing prose. You can write short, simple sentences. I don't mind if you have a few errors in your English. What I'm saying is that we can tell when you clearly haven't read the question properly or thought about your answer. It's not a matter of being like a good writer. We're not You're not applying to write something. It's fine. But if we say, why are you interested in this game? And underneath it says, tell us about your character ideas or the premise or what you like about it. And you just write, I really like playing TTRPGs, smiley face. You haven't answered the question, sweetie. That's not what we asked you. And this is what we mean about read the form. Just read it and then read it again, and then think and fill it in. You don't have to spend hours of your life on it, but we just need you to read the question, babes.
Please. And
Please.
we are constantly also trying to improve. Like Michelle does a lot of the application work, and it's always okay. Several people seem to have missed this point. Are we wording it incorrectly? What if we move it over here so they it's more for categorization? There's a lot of intention. And yes, we are human and sometimes things may not have been as clear, things have been left out, but we need communication to go both way. Our application is us vehemently communicating. You reading is communicating back. So read the application. See the time zone we have listed. Open the Google and confirm your time zone.
Please. Please. And I just can't say it enough times. Read the form. And if you are reading the form and it's not accessible for you for some
Mhm,
reason,
mhm, mhm.
if you're finding that you want to apply to Euphoria and you're struggling with the application for some reason, we would love for you to try and get in touch with us whatever way is comfortable. Email us or give us a shout on Blue Sky. Some of us are in the UK, so Blue Sky DMs don't work, but
Oh,
you can.
I'll
But I
forward.
will get them.
I forward the Blue Sky DMs to Euphoria because I'm in the Netherlands.
There you go. Ada will get it because she's in a country that's not quite as much as a bin as the UK is. But tell us in any way that is comfortable to you if you feel willing. Oh, this isn't accessible to me because of X, Y, Z. We really want to try and improve the forms. We want to make it
Absolutely.
readable for you.
Mhm.
Communication. We love it.
Communication.
Dan says, big teacher correcting tests energy. Exactly that. It's like, did you read the question? I feel like I'm in high school. Just read the question.
All right. So now, Michelle and I and Darcy, we also want to read ourselves. We want to read why you want to be in the game. Um, I think one of the best ways to express that is share your genuine joy with that context, with that nuance, why this game speaks to you, why the genre speaks to you, what do you think you can bring into it? And again, you don't have to write an essay, but I sort of need to know this is your opportunity to tell us on a personal level why this game excites you and why you should excite us. And that's your space saying, I really like TTRPGs. Well, I would hope so because you're applying, but you need to tell us a little bit more. And again, it doesn't have to be an essay. And like Michelle said, we're in Europe, so English is not everyone's first, second, third language. As long as we can sort of get to tell who you are as a person, as long as we can get to feel your excitement, as long as we get to feel your alignment with our values, then you have a very good chance of getting cast at an Euphoria game, for example.
Absolutely. And when you're being enthusiastic, be enthusiastic about the game, be enthusiastic about the opportunity, and be enthusiastic about yourself. We really love to see people who are willing to be their own cheerleaders,
Mm, mhm, mhm.
who have shown the insight and the reflection to know what they are good at and what their style of play is and what they would bring to the table. I think a lot of times we get worried about sounding a bit braggadocious, a bit full of ourselves. You know, we don't want you to type in, I'm the best actual play performer who has ever existed. That's how I talk about myself, but I'm on the other side, so I'm allowed to talk like that. But you can,
Yeah, fucking Kelly.
in your applications, say things in a positive way about yourself. Don't run yourself down. We don't want you to write, I'm not really very experienced in GMless games. What you could write,
You likely won't cast me.
you probably don't want to cast me.
I don't think I'm gonna get a chance to. The more you tell us that, the more likely we're not gonna cast you. You're not gonna get cast if you tell us reasons that you shouldn't get cast.
I'm inclined to believe you when you tell me things about yourself. So if you say, I'm not very good at this, I'll go, okay, well, I probably won't put you in the cast then. But if you say, instead of, I don't really know much about GMless games, you say, I've been hearing loads about GMless games recently, and I'm so excited to have a go at one. And this particular game sounds really fun because this is a space game, and I'm super into science fiction. So I would love to bring all of my knowledge about science fiction into this GMless game set in space. Hey, what you've said there is effectively that you haven't played a lot of GMless games, but you said why you want to do it and what you would bring. And that is a positive way of talking about it instead of a negative, oh, I don't really know much about this. That's not the space to, don't listen. We all have insecurities.
Mhm, mhm,
We all
mhm.
have the moments where we don't feel great about ourselves. Tell that to your most beloved plant. Don't tell it to the application form. In the
Mhm, mhm.
application form, be your own biggest fan,
Yep,
because we want to be fans of you too, and you'll make it easier for us if you tell us confidently and strongly what you do well.
absolutely. So take care. And sometimes it happens where I, Ida, will write a banging application form. Some application forms I've encountered in the wild, even before Euphoria time. I don't even remember the channel anymore. Probably for the best because I don't want to like say it and like cause drama or anything. But I remember the premise of the game was very focused or important and needed people that were second culture people, immigrants of people, and why this particular experience can be brought into TTRPG. So I was like, oh, so I wrote a couple of essays and then I didn't get in. I was like, I thought I had it. I thought I had it in, but I guess not. And then I saw another application for the same channel asking the same questions, and I'm like, I'm not copy pasting my answers in here anymore. But ultimately, it happens. So this to say, you need to be prepared for rejection should that happens. And it can and it will happen. We have just given the secrets to what makes an amazing application. That means a lot more people than the allotted amount of players at a table will be applying, meaning it is inevitable that that most people, some people, a person will not get cast even if everyone was at a high level of applying.
Yeah. We always get more applicants than there are seats, always. So even if 100% of them are brilliant, banging applications, some people who did a really good job and seem fantastic, we will have to say no to because we can't make these poor GMs run a table of 10 for a
Mhm.
3 hour stream. It's just too much. Casting is genuinely not about finding the best 4 or 5 or 3 performers. It's not about finding the best one because this is an art form. It's not ranked. Um, when we're casting, we're thinking about so much more. We're reading all of those wonderful things you wrote about yourselves. We're looking at your links. We're figuring out, okay, what's everyone's play style? What kind of player is the GM looking for this game in their players? Who might have good chemistry? Who seems like their styles are going to align really well? Whose ideas seem like they're going to bounce off of each other really well? As well as what we've talked about already, which is making sure we have a diversity of viewpoints.
Oh,
At
yeah.
Euphoria, we take diversity very seriously. We will never have one solitary single POC in our tables. We try very hard to represent at least two different countries in every single one of our casts. Um, we try to have all of these different things in our minds because we believe not only is it the right thing to do, but it makes the stuff we make better when you have lots of different viewpoints and lived experiences feeding into the role play. So we're thinking about all of that, all of these things. Some of these things you have control over. What you write in the application, providing links to stuff you've done before, you have control over that. You don't have control over who else applies. So
Mhm.
that's another thing you have to kind of talk to yourself about, or your beloved plant, before you apply for an AP is, am I going to be okay with the potential rejection? Because if you're putting yourself out there, sometimes it's not going to go your way. And I'm an actor professionally. Most of my job is being rejected from auditions. It's hard. It can be hard, but it doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. It just means this one wasn't quite right. And we have turned down people that we love for
Mm.
certain games. We
Mhm,
have said
mhm.
no to people we've had on the channel before multiple times when they've applied for a game and the casting for that particular game didn't quite fit them. We've turned down people who we haven't had on the channel yet, but we've noticed. And we've seen them, we've gone, "Oh, they're so great. I really want to get them on the channel, but I think actually these other people are going to work better for this game."
Absolutely.
And we've said, "God, I hope they apply again." And
Mhm.
then they have. And when we found the perfect table for them, we're so excited. Yes, we can finally get this person in. I've been waiting for the right table for them. So we want you to be ready for the chance that you might not get it the first time or even the second time that you apply. And if you really want to do this, keep at it, keep building your skills and keep building that resilience and learning about what you want to do. And when the right table comes along, you will get your chance. You will.
There are I would assume, I know that there are so many opportunities to be in AP, um, just as much as there's opportunities for you to just click stream, start streaming on your OBS, and boom, you're an actual play performer. Um, I imagine that if you really wanted to be an AP, you could find one, you could get in. But what are you contributing to the space? What are you contributing to the ecosystem, to the community, whatever you want to call it? Uh, I'm not saying that gatekeepers are necessarily a good things, but I think it's graceful to understand that the stewards of the space have responsibilities and have some insights that through experience they're working and they're juggling more things that are not just centered on you applicant. So do with that as you need. I mean, if Matt Mercer of Critical Role applied to be on Euphoria, but it was during March, that'd be a rejection.
We'd say, Matt, this is TTRP Girls.
You didn't read the application.
We asked, read Matt. How many times do I have to tell you, Matt Mercer, my close personal friend, to read the application? It's true. It's true. Ida, time is ticking on, and I want to talk about the tech. I want to talk about the tech side of things. And when I say I want to talk about the tech, what I mean is I want you, Ida, the queen of the technical side of production, to guide our friends in knowing what do we look for from the tech side of things. I do want to preface this
Mhm,
by saying that tech like webcams and microphones and headphones, all these things cost money. This is
mhm.
not about pricing people out and saying you have to be this wealthy to make AP. What we're talking about here is what is the minimum that should be expected to be able to make something that is kind of watchable,
Yeah.
kind of listenable, something. And this is part of doing your homework and your research that we talked about. Is if you're looking at an AP where everybody is in glistening, glittering HD and all of their sound sounds like it was professionally recorded in a beautiful sound booth, and you're not working with that level of equipment, that's probably not the studio you should be applying for. So part of your research is figuring out what you have and what you can have and how that fits. So, Ada,
Yeah.
what would you say is like the level of technical equipment people need really to be making AP?
Well, I would say it's important to understand, it's important that the studio, you for anyone else, is clear how they are capturing that video. What is the recording mediums that they are using? Is it going to be Zoom? Is it going to be Google Hangouts? Is it going to be Riverside, etc.? If your computer can comfortably run those things, then likely it would be okay, air quotes. If you're on a machine that comfortably cannot run Zoom, cannot run video and audio on Discord, Google Hangouts, Riverside, etc., then that's sort of your benchmark of understanding how it's going to go. So hopefully those production studios are clear to you what that recording medium will be. Here at Euphoria, we use Video Ninja, which is an open source browser-based program, but requires a bit more juice, technical software, internet base from, let's say, Zoom or Skype, etc., etc. To that end, it's hard to say what any potential hardware requirements are going to be. I can't tell you what GPU you're going to need. I can't tell you what CPU or what level of how much RAM you need to have open for certain things. Um, the second I have to ask those questions, that's where I'm getting into the world where Michelle mentioned glittering 4K audio, um like sound a specific sound box level audio booth, and that's likely not going to be AP world. That's going to be something else. So don't worry yourself too much with hardware requirements. It mainly needs to be somewhere where you can comfortably open the aforementioned programs that I've mentioned, but also be cognizant that we're playing APs online digitally. So you're also going to have PDFs open. You might have multiple PDFs open. PDFs might be dozen pages, one page, a couple hundred pages. Can your computer handle video, audio that isn't fuzzy or isn't cracking while you're scrolling through this 200-page Vampire the Masquerade PDF? Oh, you might also need a tab open for Foundry, Roll20, Owlbear, whatever. Can your computer handle that? Oh, you also need this other document open. Especially if you're a GM, you're gonna have even more tabs open. Can your computer handle all of that with some level of clarity in your video? And more importantly than video, clarity in your audio. It's less than ideal if if video is subpar, a little frozen, a little glitchy. That is not ideal at all. But it is even less ideal, and this is where I said it affects accessibility if your audio isn't crisp. So if your computer, your machine can handle all those things, then more than likely you're okay for AP. There are sometimes things that a producer, a production team, studio can do to help offset some of those needs, but those tools are very far and few between. Like if you can run Baldur's Gate 3, you're pretty okay, kind of thing. If you can play the gaming community overlaps with TTRPGs and APs, more than likely you have some sort of laptop or machine that can handle it. The other thing I want to get into is as well internet requirements as well. We are streaming video and audio, which can be heavy on those connections. So if you want to do that, but you're on a hotspot from your phone, that is going to be incredibly less than ideal. That it will affect your video and thus your audio, which will make you incomprehensible to your fellow players, let alone the audience. Um, Wi-Fi does work if you're working from a Wi-Fi router. The most ideal is that you have a fixed line connection using a LAN cable from your computer to the router or to your network hub, whatever that may be. So you have a consistent online source. Because at least in video, I can tell when someone has low bars on Wi-Fi. And when someone has low bars on Wi-Fi, depending on their machine is actually going to send more or less resources to everything else it's doing, meaning your video and audio will drop. I can tell when your CPU is having a hard day when I'm producing on video. I can tell when your battery is low, when it's not plugged in, and your quality is dropping because your computer is doing power resource management. So plug in your internet. And if you're on a laptop, plug in your laptop as well. Please do that.
Yeah, big lesson. Plug in the laptop, lads. I had to learn that. It took me
Mhm.
way too long to learn that one. I have an Ethernet cable plugged into this laptop. It is going out of that door. It is going over the ceiling, down the stairs, into the hallway where it is plugged in. It didn't cost that much to get a long Ethernet cable. I can say they're fairly affordable at certain retailers. If you can use non-evil ones, I recommend. But if you have to go for evil ones to make it happen, I'm not going to tell anybody. Long
Go to a
Ethernet cable, plug it in.
secondhand store.
There you go. There's so many of those.
There's
You'll probably find one for super cheap, even cheaper, secondhand.
if you or a family member or partner has any involvement in computers, building computers, you have a box of cables in a closet where another family member has told that person, "Get rid of these cables. I'm done seeing it in the closet." And that got sent to the secondhand store. There are boxes and boxes of Ethernet cables, of LAN cables.
That's
I'm
so true.
very confident you can get even at a secondhand store if you don't want to buy from the evil corporations.
Yes. Um, that's a very affordable way to hugely improve things. If you have a wired internet connection, oh my god, it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
It really, really does.
Some laptops, and thus they wouldn't be so much laptops, but notebooks, electronic notebooks, don't have slots for Ethernet cables at all. These machines are going to have a harder time even running a lot of APs as well when you're talking about sending high level audio, high level video, and having multiple PDFs open, multiple tabs, multiple browser sources open. You have to balance some things. I have a pretty strong notepad that doesn't have a LAN cable, but it can handle video. Your mileage may vary. It hasn't been often, but I think once or twice, not on EU4 yet, but there have been people where I was like, I can't get this working at all. There are options that would just sort of rewrite entirely what we were planning to do. Therefore, because all my tips and tricks couldn't help you make that, I don't think you should be at this table because that's not what I signed up for as a producer either.
Mm. That's true. You are a magician, but even you have your limits.
Yeah.
I will say the laptop I'm using right now to stream this conversation, and you can hear and see me fine, hopefully,
Yeah.
does not have an Ethernet port. What I have is a little hub that I bought online from an electronics retailer, not the evil corporation, which has 6 slots in it, including an HDMI slot and some USB ports and an Ethernet port. So that was very affordable, and that is how I am able to have a wired connection. So even if you have a little laptop that doesn't have the right ports, you can buy a hub that plugs in.
Yep.
There
Yep.
are
Yep.
options. There are options. But we're talking a bit about money stuff. I
Yeah.
want to make sure we talk about some of the free ways you can improve whatever tech you have.
Before you do that, I just wanted to give one more bullet
Oh,
point
go on, please.
on accessibility when it comes to tech as well. When we are also handling tech, I also want to specify tech can also include your webcam, that thing I'm pointing at, your microphone, any sort of audio things as well. Um, we don't ask for 4K cameras. I don't ask for like super amazing non USB only microphones. I'm asking for hopefully a way to see you on camera. If you're on a laptop, that's great. Please don't move your laptop hinge over and over if that's your main camera, because you're going to make me dizzy as a producer and as a player. Please don't do that. You don't need the crispest mic. You can even be using a headset, headset that has a mic. Just don't eat your mic, please. Be cognizant if you are twirling your hair on your finger, that you're not going to hear sloshing sounds. The main reason why we request a headphones is so that if I were to have Michelle on my speaker and me with the mic, Michelle's audio would loop back to my mic and and she would hear herself echoing. And that's not very accessible or nice or kind to anyone else at the table. And furthermore, the way that we are capturing captions would also cause that leakage to come through. Um, Consider what your needs for comfort and accessibility are for tech as well. Depending on the program that is being used, you may or may not be able to see uh, the live captions at that moment. If you're using Zoom or Google Hangouts, you can likely see the captions that are happening now. As I'm mentioning it, I notice my captions are a bit like weird and confused. I'll fix it in a bit. Um, Not every program can handle that. At video, we can't really do that easily because the goal of our goal is to have only one browser tab open. If for accessibility reasons, you can't look at your own camera, but you can look at everyone else's, that may or may not be as easy or as possible with the programs that your certain channel is using. So I encourage you to share in advance what your needs are. And more than likely, a producer, Ida, Darcy, etc., we're going to find a way to accommodate. We're going to find a middle ground. But very infrequently, sometimes we do have to say, no, I cannot provide an in person interpreter, for example. That is absolutely an accessibility need, but that is not one I or EU for at this moment. I cannot provide an ASL, BSL sign language interpreter, for example. In the future, I'd love to be able to handle that. But right now, there are certain things that are out of my control, out of my budget. But let us know nonetheless. Alrighty. I originally said we're going to be yapping for an hour. That's a lie. I want to keep
Right.
going, Michelle. How
Then
about
let's.
we take a little ad break and a little hydration break, and then we resume this?
That's a great idea. Let's take a wee break, and then I want to talk about what I mentioned about some free or super cheap and affordable ways to improve what you have. But the
Yeah.
thing that improves everyone's well-being is taking breaks. So let's do that.
See you in 5 minutes. As I was saying, that's why my plants are dying because I am emotionally unloading on them.
It's just, you've just got to give them the chance to unload back, and then it'll be fine.
I think some of my plants might be already like screaming, like I'm being overwatered, I'm being underwatered, spider mites, spider mites.
Not the spider mites.
Oh my god.
No. Welcome back to the plant care stream. We
Help me, I need help. How do I plant?
we'll put that on the ever growing list of ideas for future streams. But for now, we're talking about top tips for people who are interested in doing more actual play. So we've talked in before the break
Mhm.
to you lovely people about researching, figuring out the different actual play creators out there that you can apply for, how to improve your application. And we kind of got to the point in the journey where maybe you're going to do an AP and you want to maximize what you can do with the level of tech that you've got. Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. You've gone into an AP. Now let's make sure that you look and sound brilliant. So for me, the biggest thing that like upped my game in terms of being in APs was finding out how to maximize what I had,
Mhm,
and that is good etiquette. It comes down to etiquette so much of the time. It's about how you can make life easier for your producer,
mhm.
somebody like Ida, who is
Hi.
doing everything she can to make you look and sound great. You can make it easier.
We'll do it in post.
A couple of such easy things you can do. Put yourself in a quiet room. Minimize the background noise. Do I have a dog here? Yes. Is he asleep? Yes, because I made sure there was a comfy bed for dog before I started this stream so that he wouldn't spend the whole stream wandering in and out and demanding a bed. Close the door. Make it nice and quiet, the space you are recording in, so that your producer does not have to spend ages being like, what is that? What is that noise I have to remove? Similarly, declutter your backdrop as much as you possibly can.
Mhm.
You will note that Ida and I have beautiful matching IKEA screens behind us. Mine's a bit decorated. Ida keeps hers beautifully minimalist. Either way is fine. But if you aren't in a position to buy something like this, you could just sit yourself in front of a wall. You could put that lovely plant that you've been telling all of your stories to in the backdrop, so that looks nice and pretty. Or even if you're facing into a room, just try and tidy up and make sure there's not too
Yeah.
much clutter distracting the eye. So there's a nice, simple background and the focus can be on you as a performer.
I've had someone who put up an umbrella behind them, like a ridiculously large beach umbrella, like positioned right behind them, and that blocked out anything they didn't want seen.
I love that. That's such an easy idea. Like, it could be just hanging, like, a piece of fabric or something behind you, like a wall I know somebody's done, like, a wall hanging behind them, like,
I've
that's really
seen
pretty.
I've seen really pretty like shawls with like constellations on them hung behind them.
Yeah, it can still be personalized, it can still be something that you like, but just try and make it not cluttered and messy and lots of busy things in the background. Also, don't do listen, do not sit in front of a window unless the curtains are drawn and the blinds drawn and there is no light coming through that window.
From a natural light. Did you know the sun moves and we on Earth also move? And at any point in time, your lighting will change. And that will have could have drastic effects on how your camera, how your face presents on camera, sometimes to a less than flattering degree.
Hmm. Especially if you're in front of the window. If there's a window behind you, light is hitting the camera. And when light hits the camera, you will become completely dark. And we won't be able to see your beautiful face and all of that amazing facial acting you're doing. You need to have light, yes. I'll talk about lighting in a second, but it should
Mhm.
not be coming from a window behind you. Ideally, it shouldn't really be coming from a window at all, for the reason that Aida said. Natural daylight will change over the course of a few hours. If a cloud goes in front of the sun, you will suddenly become darkened. And this is difficult for producers to deal with, and it makes it harder for the audience to see what you're doing. So mind your lighting. Honestly, a lamp I have here. I'm going to dismantle my setup and I'll show you things. This is an IKEA
Ah.
lamp. It's posable. I love it. It
Oh,
was
wait,
not.
I have that lamp.
Yeah, I bet you do. It's a very common lamp. So I have that on one side of me. I also have I have several light sources because I do this a lot, so it was worth investing over time. I have a second what we call a ring light
Mhm.
over on this side of me so that I have two light sources making sure both sides of my face are lit. If you don't have that, that's okay. I did not start with that. But do you have a lamp in your house? Do you own any lamp? Can you go and get the lamp and put it on your desk so that you have some light hitting your face that is controlled? I know some people basically the monitor is the main thing illuminating their face, which is fine until you start clicking around. I just did it to demonstrate, but you know what? I have a light, I have a lamp, so it didn't do anything. If the only thing lighting my face was the monitor, every time I switch to a different tab or minimize or open something, the lighting on my face is going to change and flicker. And again, is that the end of the world? No. Does it make things a little bit harder for your producer? Yes. So if you can find a lamp and just make sure your light is well hit by something you're well lit, sorry, by something other than your monitor or a window, that's a really easy way to make life easier.
Yeah. Um, if you do have if your monitor is the only source of lighting, your primary source of lighting, what I used to do before I had a good camera, I'm fortunate that I have a fairly wide monitor, so I would dedicate like a third quadrant of it to just a blank Word doc. So I had bright light coming from one side of the screen to illuminate. And that was my main light source. And that space would never get covered up no matter what else I had open.
That's really smart. So you just dedicate part of your monitor and make sure
Mhm.
you don't touch that so you
Yeah.
have light. That's brilliant.
If you have the monitor space to do the real estate to do that, because if you're from
Mhm.
a laptop, that's going to be much harder. Um, I wouldn't recommend necessarily like doing that on your phone because you're going to run out your battery much faster. Ring lights nowadays can be really cheap, but one thing I will say, I would recommend not having a ring light directly on your face because you're going to sort of wash out a lot of the features. If you're
Have it to
doing
the
makeup
side.
tutorials, if you're doing TikToks kind of thing, that's fine. But if you want to sort of elevate, Google 3-point lighting, one, two, three sort of things. But if you can't do all of that because this is just for fun, or you're not gonna be professional, or you don't have the sense in your wallet. I opened my wallet 1 year. I swear a moth came out, and I'm like, it's not on a cartoon. A moth legitimately came out of the wallet I had once. Um, do what you can to keep whatever lighting you do have consistent. Even if it's not ideal or not great, consistency will help your producer like, "Oh, I can pop on a filter. Oh, I can, adjust, this or that here or there." But if your light is constantly changing, then the filters your producer will have add to help you out, they're going to be chasing things, and that's less than ideal. So either do what you can to consider your lighting, or keep it consistent. The
Mhm.
sun and Earth's rotation and orbit is not consistent.
Earth is not consistent. You heard it here first. Someone in chat, 12 Biscuits, has mentioned a bounce light, which is a nice thing if you're looking at advancing and really
Mhm.
leveling up. Look into rather than having the light directly on your face,
Mm,
not ideal. I have this lamp pointing at the white wall and it is bouncing back at me,
yep.
and that's diffusing the light. So it's less harsh. That's another thing you can look at. Again,
Yeah.
the best you can do is just make it consistent. Don't do what I'm doing and keep moving it, because look at this. Do you see the way that my face is like the light is changing? If that was happening in an AP that Ida was editing, she would be hyperventilating right now because she'd be trying to fix it and making, and every time I move that light, she has to restart. Make your producer's life easier, keep your lighting consistent. Um,
Uh,
while we're talking about consistency, I can you try and sit still, my loves? I don't mean you mustn't fidget. I'm a fidgeter. The whole time we've been talking, I have a handful of dice in my hand and I'm just playing with the dice down here. But what I'm not doing is this. I'm not moving the whole time in and out
I'm
of
not
frame.
sliding my chair, and I'm deciding this is how I'm going to play now.
Yeah. So Ida is in a wheelie chair that spins. This is brave. I am in, I don't know if you can see actually on the camera, but I'm in a wooden chair. The reason for this is because I'm the sort of fidgeter where if I'm in a wheelie chair, I will wheel around and spin. So do yourself a favor if you're fidgety like me, sit in a chair that is less amenable to moving, and it will help you to stay in the center of your frame, and that will help. Ida,
Or
come back, I miss you.
just stay over here where now I'm also missing my mic. If you want to make Ida cry, if you want to make the Idas of the world, just sit here the whole time, noticeably further away from your mic, so the quality is now dropped. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I recognize that for health reasons, for accessibility reasons, people must move. It's not healthy to be in a static position for so long. People might have literal aches and pains and other conditions they must mind where they need to move. So move. But also inform your cast and your producer ahead of time so that they can make those allowances. Maybe that means we're going to take more structured break more often so that you can get that movement and you can finally crick or stand up what you need to take care of yourself. We can make those allocations. We can make space for you. Those are not burdens, but they become negative experiences when you don't communicate and everyone's sort of playing catch up. Um, I think it's not hard to accommodate those things when you communicate them. So we do accommodate to a lot so long as you communicate. But when it's like, yeah, actually, I have an injury or a thing, so I must play like this the whole time. Don't do that. Uh,
Yeah,
Tell us, please. So, if that's the case, can we interest you in a podcast? If that's something consistently happening, because that way you'll have a better experience.
yeah. This is so true. People are talking in the chat about having different access reasons why they can't necessarily sit still for several hours. And my God, nothing is more important than your health. Certainly not actual play.
Hmm.
If it's not possible for you to sit in a wooden chair to sit still, please do not talk to your producers. Especially at Euphoria, we really, really want to try and make things accessible. But that also means looking after Aida's well-being as the person who must edit you. So if we communicate and find a way that works so that you are comfortable and your needs are met, but also Ida has worked around it. Maybe we've had breaks, or Ida knows ahead of time. Okay, let's like make sure we have a nice wide field of view, so there's room for you to move, but we're not gonna lose you if you move. These are things we can do to set up for success.
Yeah.
So communication is key. If any of the things we're talking about aren't possible or accessible for you, it's possible that there's a conversation that can be had to make things better. So yes, please don't take me saying sit still as like if you don't sit still you're bad. If it's not an option for you, there are workarounds. There are always ways to make it work around.
Mhm. I've
But
had
don't suffer.
people who absolutely fidget around and end up over here. Usually, if it's a pre-recorded thing and they're not talking, I'll just splice in a moment when they're centered in camera and just like, nope, they were actually in the middle the whole
You
time.
were there the whole time. We've
Um,
we've had instances where somebody switches to just a static image for a bit.
Yeah,
because they weren't in a health position where they could be on camera and needed a break. But we said, oh, we'll just capture your audio for a bit. That was fine because we discussed that ahead of time and we had that plan in place to make it possible.
absolutely. These are all instances where we're considering accessibility and your physical and mental needs. But now I also want to talk to you camera awareness when it's also a polite and quote unquote professional thing to do. You are playing to an audience. You should be engaging with the audience. You should not be like this the whole time when someone else is talking and you're not in the scene. I don't need to see your full and luscious scalp if that's what it is the whole time, please. This is not very engaging. You've told me that you've checked out. Or you know what? Some people may have low spoons, and that's okay. But if this is the constant state when you're not in the scene, that's not necessarily ideal for actual plays. And you might be need to reconsider what is it you're doing here, and what can we do to improve that engagement with the audience. You're here for an audience too.
I know that was a bit, but it was deeply viscerally upsetting. I can't with APs where somebody is visually bored.
Hmm.
I can't. Like, everyone has different ways of expressing themselves. But if you're used to seeing me looking here at you, wow. And then at some point during this stream, I was over here, you would know that I wasn't listening anymore because you've
Hmm.
seen what engaged looks like. So again, it's about consistency. We're not saying everybody has to be the most gregarious person always staring down the barrel, but if you're not comfortable at least engaging with the camera, is an on-camera AP the right fit for you?
Is it? And maybe that day it wasn't a thing for you. And you know what? Communicate if that's a possibility. I don't have the strengths to be on stream today. If that's the kind of space, or that's the kind of if you can take the liberty, please do so. It's not the end of the world, as Michelle said. APs are not more important than your health and well-being. But when thus make a conscious and make a an informed decision about you coming on camera and you doing the best for the table, the platform you're presenting, and for your audience, because we're ultimately here making content. Um, yeah, some people when they need to like listen, they have to scroll on their phones, they have to doodle or something. But you have to find a balance where you're not like this the entire time, please. Don't do that.
Can you set yourself up so that your phone is kind of here-ish? So that if you do need to be scrolling, you're still kind of on camera and you're just looking down slightly? Can you have like your crochet or your handful of dice just on the desk next to you so you can fidget and keep yourself comfortable without being down here? You know, you can think about these things. You can find ways to accommodate your own needs while also making sure that your lovely audience can enjoy what you're giving.
Yep.
Um,
And just one slight anecdote I want to mention, because we did
oh,
talk
please.
about keeping your audio clear, keeping a quiet space. You don't necessarily need a recording booth to do that. Michelle, when I first started playing with you, you were in a recording booth.
I used to stream from my recording booth. It was very hot. I don't recommend it.
It was amazing. I've had the experience where someone joined an AP from their couch on their laptop, and their partner was watching TV next to them. Yep, yep,
No, I don't know.
yep. Don't do that, friends. Please don't do that. Um, One, because any disturbances will likely affect your table and distract them. Focusing is difficult sometimes. Don't put sticks in those bicycle spokes, okay, with additional noise that you have the power to control. If you are in a noisy environment, if you need to have the fan on because it's hot and global warming, keep that fan on. But tell your producer, maybe they can toss on a couple of noise canceling filters, or video, almost any program we're streaming on. Manually mute yourself when you're not talking. Sure, you'll forget it every now and then, and your cast might make the funny reminder. If it's pre-recorded, we can edit that out. If it's live, it's funny, it happens. But I prefer that to hearing the dogs barking outside, to hearing like the fan have this constant stir. Take care of yourselves. Do what you need to do if you need the door open, but take the extra step, mute yourself, or what you have in your power, keep your space as quiet as possible because you're not distracting people. You're not befuddling the captions that are being automatically generated. It demonstrates care, not just for yourself, but for those around you as well.
Yes, I would love to introduce you to my good friend, the mute button. Um, I was muted while Ada was talking just then because the dog I mentioned, who was sleeping next to me, stood up and did one of his big shaky shakies, which makes the collar go, which is extremely cute. But I wanted you to hear what Ada had to say, not what my dog had to say. So I hit the mute button. It's such an easy way to make your producer's life better and make the final product better is to just mute when you're not talking. If you're especially if you're not in a scene and you're probably not going to speak for a little while, just mute and still be engaged, smile and react and oh my god, something shocking happened in this AP that you're being a fan of your fellow performers, you can do that on mute. If you're making notes, if you're typing, oh please,
Oh,
oh please,
please.
because your microphone is on your desk and your keyboard is in your desk, so it sounds like a herd of elephants. It might sound quiet to you, but to the microphone, it's
And if it sounds loud to you, there is legitimately a herd of elephants running across because you're
chest is drawn down the stairs.
because your microphone and your arm is likely also hooked up to somewhere on on your desk. So while you're like, I don't know, chiseling or blacksmithing, those vibrations will inevitably come to your microphone and we're going to hear it. And if someone didn't mind the audio levels, they're not going to have a good day.
They're not. They're not. Two more things about sound. Please do not eat when you're recording or streaming. Please, the sound is really upsetting for a lot of people.
Specifically, mute yourself if you must eat and you must
Yes.
nourish yourself. Mute yourself.
Yes. This is again another thing that has a huge caveat for access things. Like if you have a reason why you have to eat, you were late from work and you've got to eat, or you have a health condition where you need to keep your glucose levels up. Of course, that is more important. But again, your friend the mute button. And again, potentially speaking to your producer and saying, I haven't eaten enough today. I really need to eat. Maybe producer can push things back by 10 minutes so you can get some food. Maybe producer can schedule in a couple more breaks with the GM to make sure you can go and get more snacks and that you're okay. Maybe there are steps that can be taken to make sure you can be well fed because that's more important. But also, that mute button is your friend. Similarly, stay hydrated. Hydration is key. I have been drinking water throughout this entire stream, and I've been hitting the mute button when I do it. I've been taking sips when Ida is talking, and I've been hitting the mute button because you don't need to hear me slurping. It's fine. No one needs that. It's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
We
just
don't need the
another
food.
super easy way.
We don't need the food. I don't need to see you. I pray most people don't do this, but I don't need to see you like I don't need to see a goat chewing the grasses on the stream. If you must eat and you're on stream, can you turn your face while you're chewing? Can you keep your sandwich on your desk? Also, apparently, in some studios, if you're flashing certain logos of things, they might get in trouble because this is also a monetized platform.
That's true. That's true. Anne the gnome has been saying as well. Lots of my cast have ADHD, so they often must fidget, but could also be distracted by each other's fidgeting. So it's really important to find ways to be kind to ourselves, but also the other people on the call as well as the audience. I think that's a really beautiful way of putting it, Anne. Thank you for that. And
All
also
this
says
gets covered by
mukbang.
session. All this gets covered by session zeros.
A good
Did you
session zero
know?
should cover this.
My God.
So are we shall we move on actually to more about this like communication with production and talk a bit
Hmm.
about that side of things?
Yeah, I have an up to and while playing. And let me release the first point that we're going to talk about. And the first point, just to start us off, is communicate.
Communicate. Communicate. We have a little notes doc that we made before we started the stream just with our ideas of things
Mhm.
what we should mention. And I had to just put in block capitals 3 bullet points that just says communicate, communicate, communicate.
Well, okay, now I'm going to reveal the block points. There we go.
There they are.
Communicate,
Communicate, communicate. Please,
please.
please. You got sick last minute? Communicate.
Communicate.
You're anxious about something to do with the show. You've had session 0 and now the show's coming up soon and you're anxious about something. Communicate.
Communicate. Did a groundhog decide to like dig under your house and chew up the internet cables from your phone? Can you communicate?
Communicate. Do you have an access need that isn't being met fully. Communicate.
Are you is there a comfort or safety issue you might be having with someone at the table or someone in the periphery or someone in that space? Communicate.
Communicate. Has the producer asked you a question? Hey, we're gonna put the promo up on socials tomorrow. I just want to check your pronouns. Communicate.
This has been great. I want to personally tell you how what a good job you are doing. I want to explicitly share my gratitude. I want to also tell everyone else what a great job and what a wonderful thing we've done together. That's also communication.
That is communication. Telling people you're having a great time. Saying, "Oh my gosh, that moment towards the end when you like rolled that perfect roll at the perfect moment, and then you wove it into the story in such a funny way. I loved that. That was so much fun. Communicate that. Communicate the issues. Communicate the things you're finding hard. Communicate the things you want to celebrate. Tell the rest of your cast and your GM and your producers what is going on, and everybody's going to have a happier time.
A good space like euphoria. A good space will have various means and channels and access points for you to make those communications safely and or anonymously. For example, euphoria, where we take session zero and safety tools very seriously, we always have a third party neutral person who is not a performer at your table take care of lines and veils, for example, because if there's an issue with the GM or DM, you tell the GM, DM, it might be harder to tell them, hey, you're the problem. Or why should safety exclusively fall to the GM or DM if there's an issue within someone at a table within a player at the table? So at least at Euphoria, we have avenues where you say, like, if you're uncomfortable, there's a concern, share it with this neutral third party person, and we can communicate, get down to the issue, and share them anonymously without outing you, for example. Even when I run the sessions, I'll often say, if there's a problem with me, then you know what? You can also talk to my amazing friends, Michelle and Darcy, about that as well. Because I don't know if maybe I did something to make someone uncomfortable. I want to facilitate that communication as well. So, um, yeah, good spaces, good channels, good production teams will have various avenues for its cast members to have those to have that safe and if need be anonymous communication.
Hello, let me communicate that I am back.
You are
Apologies for briefly disappearing. It
I
was,
got
I'm
you.
sure Aida made it seamless.
I
My
just kept
browser,
going.
my browser had a joke called crashing in the middle of talking about how we should be communicative. So I thought I would fix that and then communicate that I'm back. Um, hey, could that have been a more perfect example from the universe that sometimes things go wrong? That's fine. Just stay in touch. Let us know what's going on.
Mhm.
You'll be fine.
We will euphoria at least. We move heaven and earth. We will do backflips. And we're also demonstrating that it does not take Herculean strength to move heaven and earth or do backflips. Yes, they might require more spoons, a bit more energy, but we're demonstrating, I believe, that those things can be done and they don't break productions and um, they don't make or break things. They can be done. And the more we know about those needs, the more we can standardize them. And this ultimately raises the bar, which is how I mentioned earlier, Michelle, how we go everywhere else. They're like, no, stop doing it like that because we've learned those lessons. And that's thanks to people communicating with us as well. So we've raised our own bars.
Yeah, exactly. We all learn from each other, and we can't be doing that if we're not talking. So I think we've gotten through most of the bullet points, which is just communicate, 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 communicate,
Mm. And just in case, one more, communicate.
communicate. Um, this is I'm gonna have to add some more to the doc. If any of you are on the Patreon, I will actually be posting our ideas doc on Patreon after this stream so that you can see the written version of this. And I think clearly I have not written communicate enough times to truly capture the essence. But maybe we'll put your slides on as well, Ida, so that
Yeah.
people can have these notes in case they're useful. Do we want to move on to? I think we have one last thing we wanted to talk about, which is
Yeah.
about you've been in the AP. You've recorded the AP, you've communicated with your team, and now it's going to go live, the recording or the podcast. How can you help with marketing?
You can help out quite a bit. Hopefully, the team will have asked in advance or somewhere leading up to this AP or performance, your live stream. We want to promote your we want to promote you, we want to promote the thing we're creating. And to do that, we'd like your likeness. We are not Fae. We will not take your likeness in that literal sense. But you would please give us a nice headshot so we can put that on our socials. So we say, look at this beautiful face that is going to be part of the table. For the audience, this also creates an expectation of who they're going to see. Surprises are nice, but also kind of knowing a bit of information as a audience viewer, I think is a little better. For example, if I see a promo image with all white people, I will not watch it. But as for a nice headshot, I don't need a professional in studio like I'm going to be cast for a movie's headshot. If you got those, that's really cool. You're so lucky. A selfie will do. Um, my request as someone who often makes these marketing promos, can I have an image that I have space that is around the sides of your head and at least shoulders up? I don't really need like super head tilts. I don't really need parts of your body off the screen. This is mostly because, as someone who hyper fixates on details, I like everyone to be like sort of zoomed in at a similar level. And if you give me a really cool introspective headshot that is you looking like this, well, then how the heck am I going to zoom you out or zoom everyone else in? Help me out. A nice headshot would be one where it's ideally in color, not super edited, well lit, but just give me space around all parts of your head and shoulders. That'd be nice. Thank you, please.
Yeah. And you can do this if you have possession of one of these modern contraptions known as a mobile phone with
Mhm.
a front facing camera, and you're able to hold it at arm's length and press the button. You can get a nice selfie which has your head and shoulders in frame, and just smile for the camera, take a quick selfie. That will be a lovely headshot and may indeed be more useful than the stunning photo shoot where you had a professional photographer and you in a complicated costume and it's a beautiful moody shot of half your face. That's a beautiful picture and I'm glad you have that picture in your life of you looking so wonderful. But for promotion stuff, it's really nice just to have a nice clear headshot. It makes it easier for Ida to move you around and zoom
Yeah.
you and make you look all pretty in the marketing stuff.
Like this is when a generic headshot is requested. I mean, if we're all in an AP about being teenagers transitioning into adulthood and the message is send me that 18, 19-year-old photo of you in its grainy 90s glory, then you're going to do that. Or you're all in specific cosplay or you're on a specific mood or play. That's more specific request. I'm asking for a generic nice headshot. Please give me space above, around the sides of your head, and at least your shoulders with space there.
Ida, you sound like one of those nervous dogs that has the thing on it that says, "Please give me space." So yeah, headshot.
Headshot. Yep.
Really great idea. And if you are someone who uses like a PNG tuber or a VTuber, a nice clear PNG of what the people will see when they tune into the stream is
Yeah.
also terrific. Um, Links to your socials. We talked earlier about how great it is to have some kind of internet presence, whether that is an active social media or just a link tree or a little landing page that says, "Hi, this is who I am." Give your producers links to all of those things because then we can tag you. And again, we can tell the wonderful people who are going to tune into the AP, here are all the great people you're going to see. And we can put them in the show notes. So when somebody else is casting for their next AP and they're like, God, I saw that amazing person on New Euphoria, how can I get in contact with them? Then they're going to go into the show notes underneath the YouTube video and they're going to click on the link you gave, and then you're going to get invited to another AP. So make sure you share those, and then we can share them with the rest of the world. Super useful.
It's super useful. Please also be very intentional about what you're saying. If you are saying, yeah, Michelle Helicopter on all the socials, but I actually find out that it's Michelle Helicopter underscore on Instagram and underscore Michelle Helicopter on TikTok and then Michelle underscore copter on something else. That makes me sad. Please be detailed. Okay, Michelle does not do this. That's just like the first name handle I can immediately think of. Please, please, please type it out exactly as it is. Because sometimes it's not. I promise you. The username you put, for example, on TikTok is not necessarily like the account name you have under which we find you, right? Because if you put this cool name on TikTok, TikTok will say, "Oh, you're actually number 17." But you didn't tell me that. How do I know? There's impersonators online. Please be specific and check your details. Please, please,
This is
please.
another reason it's actually such a good idea to have like a link tree or
Mm,
card.co or link in bio, one of those free little landing page makers where you can put all of your socials if you have lots of different ones that have slightly different variations. That way you can just send your producer that and then they can check and make sure they've got them all. Again, super helpful thing to
Super Sardine Burial says, "What would the Fae think about underscores?"
have. But the Fae are trying to finally escape their magical prison, and I think they finally got your name right, but I'm not sure where the underscore goes, and then they are trapped in prison for another 100 years. What a shame.
That's the underscores that'll break us. So, please, check those. That'd be really kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you for the sub, Roll for Felicity. How kind.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. And while we're talking about socials, if you are somebody who posts on social media, um, help us hype up the content that you're in. Um, Follow your other castmates on socials, repost all the promo posts, and even better, quote post them so
Mm,
you can add your own thing and say why you're specifically excited or like what tell them like, oh, there's a bit there's a bit in episode 2 that you guys are going to lose your minds over. Like tell people what you're excited about, shout about it. Be again your own biggest cheerleader, but also the cheerleader for your cast and everybody else who you've worked with. Be complimentary of what the other people at your table did that you loved. Keep an active interest in them and what they're working on, and keep an eye on the other shows they're working on. And be supportive. Be part of a community. This will help market the show that you're in, but it will also help you to find other great people that you might want to collaborate with in the future.
hmm And also, don't just do it on socials, but tell your fellow cast members as well. At least at Euphoria, after our streams, we do have spaces for stars and wishes, that sort of aftercare, where we do have in a structured place, like one-to-one cast member to cast member. I loved what you did in that moment. That part was really good. Excuse me. I wish that was further fleshed out because I loved it so much. And not just your cast members. If you have a spoon, tell your producer thank you. Tell your cat herder thank you. Michelle and I are not doing this for the thanks, but when we find our fellow producers and fellow cat herders in the wild, we know what they do. And I'm fairly confident that we're particularly extra thankful for them because we see them. And now that you have a little bit of insight into the other things that we're juggling, give them a thanks.
Everybody needs to thank Ida every day for being who she is. The woman works harder than anyone else I know, and I know Darcy. So, so the bar is high. These
Don't
two
believe
people,
what
these
being
two people.
perceived.
I'm doing it. I'm perceiving you on stream. How dare I? These two work on the production side of things for Euphoria. They do all the recording and the editing and helping everyone with all the tech gremlins and constantly pushing to make things better. And they do deserve their flowers. So, say thanks to your producer today. They've worked very hard. Um, I hope that this stream has been helpful for all of you, sharing our little insights, but also I hope in a weird way it's also given you a little bit of a window into all the stuff that we're doing as well. And it's really exciting part of AP is that it's not just the people playing the game. There's this surrounding infrastructure of wonderful people like Ida who you get to meet and work with. And that's another great reason to give AP a go because you'll meet some of the coolest, most fantastic creators in TTRPGs from doing it.
It's a great place to be. It's a wonderful community to be. It's a distinct community to be in too. It's definitely part of the larger ecosystem community Like you have your designers, your writers, your GMs, your artists, your podcasters, your audio specific storytellers, for example. And at least for me, video AP or audio AP is part of that wonderful cake, but it's definitely a unique slice. And that's where I found my happy place. Um, I think my happy place is being part of the team that makes them. It's fun and great when I get to be opportunity to actually play at the table, but I like being part of the team that makes them happen. That's my joy. That's my giving back and supporting to the art form that has brought me comfort, community, and purpose.
We love you for it. I can see in chat, Taylor and Anne are both saying, "Yeah, production is hard, but so difficult." It's like once you've worked as a service worker, you always tip well. Like, yeah, anyone who's given it a go will tell you it's really, really hard work, but we do it because we love it.
It's so
Oh,
much
we
fun.
love it. I love my spreadsheets. I don't always love sending the third follow-up email, but I do it because I know it's part of the work of making APs happen.
Thank God there's a Michelle Kelly that loves us and brings her love of spreadsheets to us because it takes a team, it takes a village, um, it takes three women slash femme based in Europe to do it, and we all complement each other. And together I think, I believe, I know we've raised the bar to the point where we've mentioned this on stream that when we go to other communities, other spaces, when our respective friends go to those other spaces, they're like, I've been ruined. They don't do it like you do. Why don't they do it like you do? And sometimes, and we feel sad, they share that they've had less than positive experience about them because they, I guess, fortunately, didn't have to learn the lessons we did. And maybe that's a positive thing. They haven't gone through that. But hopefully, by Michelle and I also sharing this perspective, we can also say, like, then take the lessons we've learned, apply them right away.
Yeah. And we also know loads of great channels and producers and people, some of whom are right here in chat right now, who are doing the work of making it a good, organized, safe, accessible, friendly, welcoming place.
Mhm.
And the more all of us are out here talking about doing that, the more we can share our lessons and what we try to do, the more we can learn from other people and what they do that we haven't learned yet, the better it's going to be for everybody. So I sincerely hope that if you're watching this and someone who hasn't done a lot of AP yet and want to give it a go, that you don't have one of those bad experiences, that
Yeah.
you have nothing but wonderful positive things. But if you do have a bad experience, please know this is not what the whole scene is. We hope we can welcome you here, and other wonderful channels will welcome you and make it as good an experience as possible because we want you to be part of this scene.
Yeah. I want to see more women and femme and non-binary people at the actual play tables. I want to open Twitch and not see walls and walls of exclusively white people. I want to see multiple languages. I want to see people who bring nuanced experiences to their role playing. I want to see the representation of neurodivergent, of disabled people. I want to see the experiences brought in from people who live as immigrants or second culture people. I want to see perspectives of other regions of the world. I want to see just as many streams live at European time zones as I would expect to see them at US time zones. Or I want that also for Australia, for the Indian subcontinent. I want to see that for South America. I want to see lots of Spanish language things. I want everyone to get bigger and better. And Euphoria was our answer to that wish.
And hey, I think we're doing okay. Uh, Come and join us. It's cool here.
It's really exceptionally cool. I hope you all have learned something or at least seen the insight. We effectively have told you, the world, what the most ideal potential applicant, potential cast member for an Euphoria table would be. This is the cheat sheet. This is almost a guarantee to get in, bearing in mind any other casting requirements. Like if we're casting for all femmes, again, Matt Mercer probably not going to be accepted because he didn't read the application and he didn't read the room.
I told you, Matt. But hey, if you've been hearing all this and you've been thinking, yeah, I should give this a go, and now I know the secret sauce, how to apply to Euphoria, good news. Look out on all our socials next week because our next open casting call is coming for
Hmm.
two more games, two incredible one shots. They're going to be pre-recorded. So we always think pre-recorded is really nice for people who are newer because
Mm.
it's not quite as high pressure as live streaming. We've got two great GMs, two great games. I shan't say more, but keep an eye out. We're going to keep casting this year, and we want to keep meeting new amazing people, and we want to welcome you in. So
100%. And if you liked this, especially on YouTube, watch the VOD. If you think this was useful and you want to hear more perspectives, let us know. Do you want Ida and Darcy to literally just talk about production live? Do you want us to literally just talk about post editing? Do you want to just like X-ray Michelle Kelly and see all the little hamsters that are doing the admin?
I won't show you my spreadsheets. They're full of shame, but I'll tell you about them. Do you want to see a live one of my therapy sessions with my Monstera plant? We can ask if they'd be comfortable being on with me for that. Yeah, tell us what you'd be interested in. I've actually really enjoyed this 1 hour stream that lasted 2 hours, Ida, where we just talked about the stuff that matters to us and hopefully shared some top tips that will be helpful to others as well. So yeah, let us know.
I think so too. And what makes me especially happy that this came from two amazing women of color on this very special Women's History Month, where we are also spending time to honor the contributions and the joy and the work from women and femmes, particularly in the TTRPG scene, of which you, Michelle, and Michelle Kelly and I are part of. We are behind the scenes, we're at the decision making table, and we have experiences that we think can help others. And I want to see more of that. And luckily, here at Euphoria, for the remainder of this month, you will be seeing all TTRPG content with exclusively women and femme casts.
Yes, you will. And the next one is on Friday. And hey, Aida, speaking of occasionally having you at the table, you're in that one, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing Shiver RPG. That is going to be GM'd by Chloe with the Flow from Deck of Many Aces, the podcast that you may be familiar with. Michelle, you're also going to be in an AP this month as well, I believe, no?
I am.
Mm.
I had the great pleasure of playing Swarmheart with the game's creator, Steph, and a little fun romantasy duet game. We got very silly with it. We had a lot of fun. So that pre-recorded one is coming out, I believe, the following Friday,
Yep,
if
the
I have my
27th.
dates right. The 27th. I know what week it is. Listen, the whole schedule's on Instagram. Am I frantically clicking on it right now to find it? Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm in the Discord events
Oh,
stream.
yeah, so organized. We also have, oh man, next week we have Slug Blaster, but it's going to be roller derby instead of skateboards. I am so excited. We have two actual roller derby players as part of the cast, as
This
well
is
as two others who haven't played yet, but I think they're so excited they're going to be roller derby players soon. Um, on Friday, we have Luyu, who I know is here in chat, facilitating my GMless game about growing up and parting ways. March winds, April showers. I'm gonna be a wreck watching that.
people
Aida.
playing that tend to be Rex too, for the record.
We should mention there's two APs of this game because our friend who mentioned earlier, Sam Who Hurt You, has also recorded one with Aida in it. I
I,
believe is coming out soon.
tomorrow, I believe.
Is it tomorrow? Oh my gosh, I'm not ready. Okay. Oh, we're not ready. What else do we have for TTRP girls? Ida, you recorded a really cool interview.
I have an interview with Una Ming Kavanagh, who is a game producer, game creator, TTRPG fan based in Ireland. We talk about the joys of creativity and the joys of representation and being our most genuine, cool, nerdy selves.
Love that. That's on Saturday the 21st.
That's on Saturday the 21st. On Monday the 23rd, we have a GM-less game called For Small Creatures Such as We. That's going to be a very cool game. We're going to portray each player will portray a different alien on board a starship. And over the course of the game, the characters get to learn about each other's cultures, biologies, and personalities. Lovely.
Gonna be lovely. We have Dragon Stream, GM'd by Francita. This is an upcoming TTRPG. It's not even out yet, but Francita has worked on the game and so is bringing us a little early sneak peek of Dragon Stream, a TTRPG about magical girls fighting a giant threat. Which apparently, according to Francita, has been specifically designed with live streaming as part of its consideration. So it's designed to be really fun to watch as a stream. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to come off. And then that then brings us to the end of the month when Darcy and I will be back on to talk about TTRPGs We Heart by European based creatives, all women and femme creators edition.
Yay!
Because TTRP girls, they make games, they play games, they run games, they do production, they write games. And we're celebrating as much of it as we can.
They absolutely do. They direct game, they produce games, they market games, they found game companies, they win gaming awards.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, they do. Maybe they make dice or accessories. They make character keepers. They make things. They make amazing social media content teaching you about cool games. So much fun stuff. I love them all.
I love
Hey,
women.
TTRP girls. I love when women. I
I
love when
love
women
when
are femmes
women.
and girls. I love when they're here.
All right. Unfortunately, we cannot be here all night though.
I know. We must go. We must go
Okay.
for this sweet little dog is looking at me pleadingly. Please take me downstairs and open the back door. I have business to attend to. So
Okay. Spot or rush?
it is Rushy. It is Rushy Rot Dog. He's just here. I don't know where Spot is. Probably shredding something he shouldn't be. So I should on that too.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Michelle, where can the people find you?
You know where to find me. It's on Euphoria Actual Plays. But if you want to see what else I'm up to, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Michelle Acopter, also Instagram at Michelle Acopter, probably some other places. There are no stray underscores. It's just Michelle Acopter everywhere.
Thank
You'll find me. What
Um,
about you, Ida?
I have the underscores and hyphens, unfortunately. I have been doing a not I have not been doing a lot of social media, but you can still follow me on Blue Sky. I'm not really anywhere else. I am in the trenches in a happy, comfortable, snack-laden cave here at Euphoria. You're gonna see more of me this month as well. Definitely support our friends at Who Hurt You. We're going to be playing Michelle Kelly's aforementioned tearjerk of a game tomorrow, I believe. The promo is Ida's first year at university. That's me 20 years ago.
Wow.
My God, time.
And she hasn't aged a day, folks.
If only that girl has no pores, and miraculously her eyebrows have survived the 90s.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad thick brows are back and I'm never letting them go. Not never.
These
Never.
are filled in.
I don't know.
The
The
90s.
90s got you.
The 90s, the 90s were harsh.
All right,
Okay.
on that bombshell, let's get out of here.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, friends. Love you.
Bye.